It's a beautiful Monday morning in the city of Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Damlola Okunshakin. Let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies. I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Forex scarcity persists as CBN resumes intervention. Banks ignore CBN directive on domiciliary accounts. Exchange rates converge around 770 naira per dollar. You can see that story on page 19. While we recommended suspension of 23 local government chairmen, that's coming from Benue Speaker, you can see that on page 10. On page 6, butcher stoned to death in Sokoto for blasphemy. Tackle insecurity head on. Baptist Conference urges service chiefs. DOGARA to Tinubu brings subsidy cabal to book. And on sports, Niger Super 8. Rivers United win 5-goal thriller against Bender Insurance. On page 9, United Kingdom waiting for Tinubu to name ministers. That's coming from Envoy. Stories above, governorship election, Elders Council raises alarm over Kogi's political violence. Autumn accuses Governor Alia of persecution. You can see that on page 10. On page 10, still, court stops scandal government from further demolition. Lastly, on Vanguard newspaper, subsidy, lack of license, foreign exchange, others hinder fuel importation. You can see that on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. Let's move to the Nation. Nation is leading with why discos are bent on electricity tariff increase. There's a statement here. It says that for customers within bands B and C, with supply hours ranging from 12 to 16 per day, the new base tariff is expected to be 100 naira per kilowatt. Band A with 20 hours and above, and B 16 to 20 hours will experience comparatively higher tariffs. You can see that on page 4. And the writer says AEDC fluctuation of naira exchange makes upward review inevitable. Dogora Oshoba back petrol subsidy remover and service chiefs. You can see that on page 4. Flood sweeps newlywed man in Ondo. Gunmen abduct 9 passengers. You can see these stories on pages 7 and 5. Stories above, experts optimistic despite foreign reserves drop to $34 billion. Envoy, population of Nigerian students United Kingdom rose by 107,000 in 3 years. That can be seen on page 5 of the Nation newspaper. And last year, we have largest ever pilgrimage begins in Saudi Arabia. That can be seen on page 3. And the Punch newspaper is leading with Naira devaluation pushes up vehicles duty by 40%. Customs raise exchange rates from 422 naira per dollar to 589 naira per dollar. Operators kick as import duties jump. Economists berate federal government, says policy will cause job loss, impoverish Nigerians, worsen hardships. That can be seen on page 5. Max gunmen kidnap Ogunbi's woman, villagers rescue farmer. Clerics warn Muslims not to borrow for Salah rams. 452,443 UTME candidates jostle for 78,578 medicine spaces. That can be seen on page 8. Stories above. Discos failed to remit 208 billion naira, says federal government. Lastly on the Punch, Lagos Ibadan gridlock trapped motorists for hours. These kind of stories can be seen on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Now let's move to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with 40% hike in vehicle duties, worsen transport crisis and poverty. That can be seen on page 6. Stories below, 6 Nigerian pilgrims dead, 8 others ill as 2023 outright begin. Media professionals mourn and utilize departed Lasudan Osho. You can see that on page 4. Community pharmacies decry 15% vaccination rates. That can be seen on page 4. And lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, United Kingdom awaiting Tinubu's cabinet ready for stronger ties with Nigeria. You can see that on page 6. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for the analysis of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Tamlola Opunshakin. Joining me to analyze the front pages of the dailies this morning is now the CEO of Magnet Communication, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper, Mr. Aliu Muhammad. Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning,
Ali.
Damilola. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. Let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies this morning, and we're talking about forex scarcity. Now, there are indications that banks are ignoring CBN's directive that they should grant their customers unfettered withdrawal of foreign currencies from domiciliary accounts. And what do you think about this? The fact that they are saying that they should not withhold the money again from people.
See, the issue is that there must be enough forex to go around. Yes, it is true that the CBN has directed that people should be given $4,000 anytime they want it. If I have a DOM account, I can withdraw as much as $4,000 for BTA and 10,000 for other purposes. But unfortunately, I doubt if the banks have enough dollars to go around. That is the effect of the terrible activities of the former CBN governor that was giving the dollars out to some people at a particular rate and to others at a higher rate. Now the acting governor has abolished the two-window dollar rates, and everybody, including the so-called big boys that were enjoying the cheaper rates, now have to buy at the same rate. You will expect that some scarcity will be created, and then that is the effect that we are having now on the dollars. You see, no bank will have dollars and not want to sell dollars. It depends on the availability of the currency. You are talking about how many banks? All the banks in Nigeria. The CBN must ensure that dollars are available for them to dispense. Yes, they have given that instruction. I was at Zenith Bank precisely to ask if I could take 2,000. They couldn't give it to me on Tuesday. They couldn't give it to me. They don't have dollars. From there, I went to First Bank. They couldn't provide it. So it all depends on the availability of that currency. The CBN must ensure that there is enough of the currency. Yes, they have given a good order, because for some time now to get dollars in the bank became a problem because the huge amount of dollars were set apart for some people to get at a cheaper rate, while others get at a very expensive rate. It has been stopped. The next step for the CBN now is to ensure that dollar is available at all the banks in the country. I mean, they won't eat the dollars. They have to circulate it. So I appeal to CBN. What they are doing is understandable. They are dedicating the allocation of the dollars more to those who want to import to ease some crisis in some sectors of the economy. But as much as possible, some amount should be reserved for those who want to also travel, pay school fees, and do some other financial transactions involving foreign countries that are personal, things that are personal to them, that they have to do with foreign countries. They should make dollars available for that.
What do you think about the naira depreciating? I mean, the I and E window exchange rate closed at 770.17 naira per dollar on Friday. What do you think
Yes,
about it?
the naira is not really depreciating. It is a temporary thing.
Okay.
Like I said, this has been left to the forces of demand and supply. As at today, demand is more than supply. You will expect the naira to fall against the dollar. If we have enough dollars, then there will be an improvement in the rate. If you don't have enough, we are bound to have this kind of crisis, naira chasing after the dollar. But if we have more than enough dollar available at different banks, available with central bank, available for those who want to engage in export duties and all that, export businesses and all that. Oh, sorry, import businesses and all that. We won't have all these crises. Then, like I said, we also have to earn some dollars, encourage individuals to get involved in export activities. You encourage them. The processes of embarking on export businesses in this country, the processes are too hard and cumbersome. Relax the processes. Let Damilola and Aliu be able to export groundnuts. Let us be able to export tomatoes easily. You earn dollars. And once those dollars are coming in, there are rates that will fall into the hands of the banks. If you have $1 times 20,000 exporters, that's a lot of money for the banks. So we must encourage export activities in Nigeria at this stage, because the oil that we rely on for exportation, the number of barrels that we export daily is reducing due to theft and several manipulations on the high seas. Go to the high seas, you see massive theft of the crude oil. I saw a video last week where pipes were channeled openly on the escravos to where to some government oil depots, crude oil depots, with badges available to take them as soon as they are loaded. What is the security? What are the security agencies doing? What are they doing to this? Oil theft must be, because we are losing hundreds and millions of dollars per day from oil theft. Now that the new president has rejigged our security network, we are looking forward to a massive reduction in oil theft. It is affecting the economy. It is affecting the volume of dollars that we earn daily. It is affecting the roots of Nigeria, because the main export that we do now is oil exportation. Name any other thing that we are exporting is at a very low rate because of the processes of exporting all these things. You go to the airport, you will be screened. You have to take all sorts of permits that will almost take half of the money that you plan to invest on exportation. So they should relax all these processes. We should be at that stage where you and I can take something and export easily. Once what you want to export is not prohibited, you are not exporting drugs, you are not exporting anything that is forbidden by the law, then everybody should be allowed to export, and let us earn more dollars than we want to spend.
Now let's move on. You've talked about oil exportation. Let's talk about the importation now. So barely a month after the regulation, operators in the downstream sector, they've not been able to import petrol into Nigeria due mainly to a lack of license and foreign exchange. According to checks by Vanguard, indicated that people who applied for this license, they are still waiting for NMDPRA to release it. And some of them are also saying that the cost of importing is actually very expensive.
It all borders on what we have been talking about. Number one, the past government refused to release licenses to other companies for the importation of refined products because a cabal was benefiting from it. NNPC became the only company importing fuel into Nigeria. NNPC became the only company, a government organization, paying subsidy to itself. You can see that a lot of massive stealing took place in the last administration. Now that this government has come in and has taken steps to reorganize that sector, you can see that the truth is coming out. Even the NNPC managing director himself said government has not paid subsidy since 2022. So Where has this vote for subsidy been going since 2022? Government should ask Mele Kyari or whatever he calls himself that question. Where has the subsidy budgeted for every month? Where has it been going? You see, a lot of truths will emerge if this administration decide to probe the oil sector of this country. Because we were made to believe that they pay subsidy every month. And for over 5 years or 4 years now, NNPC has been the only company importing fuel into this country. So they should give us a list of the company taking the subsidy. If NNPC has been the only company importing fuel, let us know those who are benefiting from the subsidy. It is very important. By the time we know those who benefited and who benefited till the end of the Buhari administration, then we will be getting to the root of the matter. Because it's a big fraud. When people sit down and tell you that subsidy is a big fraud, you can now see that it's been a big fraud. A lot of people in government have benefited from subsidy without lifting a pin, which means we've been having fake companies as those who are paid subsidies in subsidy in the last 2, 3, 4 years, because they used to give us a list of companies that benefited. All those companies are fake. I stand to be corrected. That means from what they are saying, all those companies are fake. So the Tinubu government should get to the root of this matter. You can see people now shouting that they've applied for importation license for oil lifting for years and they were not given. The same thing for those who wanted to build private refineries. They have applied for licenses. They were not given. So some people were in charge of ensuring that Nigeria will not move forward in the downstream sector of the petroleum industry. No, it is the truth. I know that some people applied for licenses for the operation of private refineries, modular refineries. They were not given for 8 years. Why? Why will a government be in power and engage in importation for 8 years? A government that came in first and said subsidy was a fraud, now himself started paying subsidy far more than we have ever paid in the history of this country. We need to do a lot of investigation into that aspect of
But do you think the president
economy.
do you think the president will be able to muster enough courage to fight subsidy and also bring this cabal to book?
You see, if you don't get to the root of this matter, whatever effort is made to ensure sanity in the downstream sector of the petroleum industry will be thwarted. Go and note it. Because these people have money to buy any process. They have money to buy anything. They have money to mobilize against any government policy because they have made so much money from subsidy and they want it to continue. You are talking about people not being granted. Why would anybody that want to import petroleum products not given license? Why? There was no reason, because the more the merrier. If they had allowed other people to muster the foreign exchange on their own to import fuel, fuel price will not get to this level. It won't be as bad as it is today. But people are not agitating against the eradication of subsidy now because they are looking at the future benefit of it. And the only way out, like I keep saying, is for us to have our refineries working, license other refineries to take off. You can't depend on Dangote refineries. Go and take note of it today. We cannot depend as a nation on Dangote refinery because the entire world is moving away from operating gigantic refineries like Dangote refineries. People are relying more on modular refineries now. One, because of the maintenance. Two, because of the ease of accessing finished products. The products will be piped to their various destinations, not haulaging like we have in Nigeria. because the refinery is manageable. It's small, manageable. 10,000, 15,000, maximum 25,000 barrels per day. So if there is a problem, they have alternative processes of refining that won't stop the distribution of refined products in the country.
This happened in Kebbi State. A butcher, Usman Boards, you attached to Sokoto Abattoir, was killed yesterday for alleged. He made a statement on the person of Prophet Muhammad and
I heard
allegedly
about
refused to repent when his colleagues asked him to do so.
that. Is
What do you
barbaric.
think about this act?
It is barbaric. It is condemnable. All those involved in that terrible act should be arrested and prosecuted. Nigeria is not an Islamic country, for God's sake. We have our courts, we have the police. Nobody have the right to take the life of another person. I keep saying that human life is sacrosanct and nobody can take it and go scot-free. All those involved in that barbaric act should be arrested and prosecuted immediately. We are in a civilized country, and anywhere such a thing has happened, those responsible should be arrested immediately and prosecuted. In the Constitution of Nigeria, it is written there boldly that Nigeria remains a secular state, not an Islamic state. Forget about the fact that we have somebody who declared Sharia in that part of the country when he was governor. Their government allowed it because it was restricted to that state and not all over Nigeria. Because in the constitution, governors are permitted to do what they want in line with the constitution of Nigeria. And that's why the aspect of declaring Sharia in that state was overlooked. And it died with the exit of that governor from that state. So all those who have committed this terrible act should be arrested immediately and prosecuted. The people are waiting. These are things that can lead to religious war if care is not taken. People can react and start killing themselves. We should stop all forms of barbaric acts because of religion. It is important that government ensures that all those who participated in this terrible act are brought to book.
All right, let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs.
And Mrs.
And the first person speaking today is Mrs. Mrs. says, I apologize, and I think both of us agreed to bury the hatchet. So what do you mean by conspiracy against you? And Mr. replied, what was Junior doing snuggling between me and you in the middle of the night?
Junior he must be competing with his daddy.
And daddy is angry.
Yeah, he will be angry. My Mrs. is daddy's property, not Junior's property anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali, for joining us this morning.
Welcome. Right.
That's all on Today in the News. Remember to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. My name